Alrighty, folks. What is one of the number one myths about Kundalini Shakti? That she is a snake or a serpent. If you believe or have heard that Kundalini is a snake or a serpent, it is wrong. Wrong, 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 wrong. Just wrong. As in not true, not true, not true. And why is it important for you to know this? If you're looking at Kundalini Awakening, if you feel like you might have gone through Kundalini Awakening, the source of your information is really important. So if you are reading articles or reading books where they claim that Kundalini is a snake, Kundalini is a serpent, and you know that that is incorrect, then that makes it more likely that you can be skeptical about all the other information that you might be reading from that same source, right? So Kundalini as a term is first used in the tantric text back in, I think the first mention of it is around 750 CE. And in classical tantric yoga, I'm just going to read this little piece from Christopher Wallace Harish's excellent article on the real story of Kundalini, which I will link down below. In classical tantric yoga, Kundalini was never described as dormant. I'm going to leave that aside for the moment. Nor does it have anything to do with a snake or a serpent per se. Where did this association come from? I'm going to tell you in a minute what my theory is. But in some early sources, there is a simile, meaning that Kundalini has a form like a sleeping serpent, right? How does a serpent sleep? Coiled up in a spiral. And so Kundalini is often referred to as a coiled energy, right? So this is like a sleeping serpent, but this does not imply that it is a serpent, nor does it imply that Kundalini is asleep, okay? That idea or misunderstanding came later. So in terms of early sources of classical Tantra, there is no association, none, of Kundalini with snakes, except as that simile, okay? Now, if I Google Kundalini and snake, here's what I find on the first page. The Kundalini snake, awakening the dormant energy within. The Kundalini snake, what does it represent? On Wikipedia even, Kundalini, literally coiled snake. What is the Kundalini serpent? Serpent symbolism explained. I can make that one. Kundalini snake, the serpent power in spiritual awakening. The mysteries of the Kundalini serpent. All of this is incorrect. Every single one of those things is incorrect. And particularly when someone takes this idea that Kundalini is a serpent, what is the Kundalini serpent? And then makes the association that serpent symbolism explained. The serpent has nothing to do with Kundalini. Nothing at all, nothing at all. Okay, now back in 1918, like just over 100 years ago, Arthur Avalon, which was a, let me go there. Arthur Avalon, trying to get this short, published a book on Tantra, on Kundalini, and he called it The Serpent Power. And it's quite likely that the reason he called it the serpent power was he misunderstood the difference between a simile, something is like something, with saying something is something. So when he maybe read one of those tantric texts and had it translated, it got lost in translation. So it becomes this giant game of of telephone, like things get repeated and repeated and repeated and repeated. And this is one of the major issues when it comes to information, particularly on the internet, about Kundalini awakening, is that most people are going to inaccurate sources and using those inaccurate sources to then create new articles or new books. And why this matters to you is that if you are going through what you suspect might be Kundalini awakening, you want to find the most true, clear, grounded, accurate information that you can. So let's just start there. I'm just gonna leave it at that, right? Kundalini is not a serpent. Kundalini is not a snake. Kundalini has never been a snake. It has never been a serpent. It is not that, right? Kundalini is energy. It is energy. It is energy. I'm not going to go any deeper into it in this moment, but drop a comment below. Do you believe, is that what you've been told? Is that what you've been taught? What is the source of your information? What what comes up? What does that bring up when I share that with you? That's what I'm curious to know. All right, big thanks to Christopher Wallace, who is an incredible academic practitioner in the world of classical traditional Tantra. If you want to know the real deal, go directly to the source and people like him who can actually read and translate Sanskrit, which of course all of the Tantras were written in Sanskrit. Some of them might even be written in Pali, not 100% sure on that. All right. My name's Kara-Leah of Joy Rebel Tantra, and yes, I work with people going through Kundalini awakening to support them on the process, and the work that I do is very much grounded in traditional Tantra and in direct experience. Alrighty, just sending you all so much love.